let's start with Jamie McLaren. Let's start with the J-Mac talking point. Of course, he surpassed, I think it was Besart Berisha's goal scoring record for the A-League over the weekend with 116 goals. I think I can't quite remember, unfortunately. Probably should know that, but yeah, he passed the goal scoring record, and he's now the top goal scorer in Premier League or in A-League history of all time. My apologies. So obviously the question goes: is he the best striker in A-League history? This is a great talking point because if you compare it to other leagues and if you compare it like to, let's just say, the Premier League, people would say Shearer is the best of all time just because he has the goal scoring record to back it up, right? But then people also say, but Henry was better because he was more flashy and he was just an all-round better player. Some people say Rooney because he could do it. He could do more things. Some people say Aguero because of how ruthless he was. Some people say Kane because of his playmaking ability coupled with that. There's a lot of different arguments. So there is quite a few contenders, I think, for this title. McLaren obviously up there. Besart obviously up there. Even Fornaroli, I'd say, is up there. Someone like, I know Archie Thompson, maybe he obviously had the record before Besart. Archie Thompson, maybe you could put him up there. Shane Smeltz, maybe you could put him up there. And then even players like Bobo, who probably didn't do it for long enough when he was here, especially in his first stint. He was very, very good. Other players kind of that ilk, like even someone like maybe Andy Keogh kind of fits into that category as well. Mark Yanko maybe fits into that category. Obviously, these players aren't in the consideration for greatest of all time, but I'm just bringing up players who had very good maybe season or two. Obviously, McLaren has floated from Brisbane. Where has he been? Because I know he's been at Brisbane. Obviously, he's been at City for the last couple of years and has really benefited from. Obviously, taking nothing away from him because he's been exceptional and he's been exceptional for a long time and has really kicked on in the latter years. But he's been a benefactor, I should say, of an unbelievable system. Scored a hat-trick over the weekend to kind of give him that moment. Obviously, was at Perth before Brisbane. That's it. Yeah, was at Perth before Brisbane and then scored 43 goals. So he scored 11 goals. 11 goals for Perth in 40 games and 43 for Brisbane in 59 and then 100 for Melbourne City in 123 games. So it's quite a lot, right? Especially considering how not poor, but his goal scoring record wasn't that good at Perth. Brisbane was unreal in 100 goals in just over 120 games for Melbourne City. This is quite funny because I actually had this conversation about who's the best striker in the league currently not long ago, and it was obviously between Zavada and Cummings and McLaren. If you want a pure goal scorer, if you want a pure and utter goal scorer, there's probably not many better. He's probably the best. If you want big game kind of players, I think Besart is the guy, right? If you want big game players, Besart's the guy. If you want some hold-up play, if you want a little bit more than just goal scoring, probably someone like a Shane Smeltz, maybe. Fornaroli also fits into that category where it's like he can do a lot more. He can hold the ball up, he can play as a 10, can move even out wide and play as like an inverted kind of Ramdeuter type role, if I'll use a full-money term. Someone like a Thompson probably can play out wide, has more pace, a little bit more exciting on the eye, has especially in his prime, had a lot of skills, good dribbling ability. It's a good conversation to have. It is a really good conversation to have, and it's probably, I feel like now we can have a proper. Obviously, the league has only been in existence for not that long, right? So I feel like now this is probably the first time where we could probably properly have a actual discussion about who is the best ever, because we have a good sample size now. We have a good sample size of a couple of players from different eras, different teams, different types of players as well. So you have like I said, you have a few different types of players. He's probably the best, definitely the best Australian striker. Probably that probably rules out Thompson in that category. But yeah, it's obviously a great talking point. Gun to my head, I feel like I've spoken about this, so I should give my answer. If I think if I had to play one game for my life, I've got to pick a number 9. I'm picking Besart Berisha in his prime. So that's probably what, first season of victory, maybe second season of victory to last 2 years at Brisbane to first year season of victory. Those 4 years, I'd probably take that Barisha. I'd probably take that Bessart Barisha for the game, like for a game for my life. But over a season, and if we're talking versatility, and if we're talking other factors other than just goal scoring, Fornaroli would be up there. As much as he's a City, I know he's a victory player now, but he did his best work at City, which hurts. But also McLaren is the best goal scorer, obviously, because he's got the best goal scoring record. It's tough. Okay, I'm just going to say, gun to my head, one game for my life. Bessart, over a season, I'll probably take... Can I take both McLaren and Fornaroli and play Fornaroli as a 10? That's what I'll do. I'll play a diamond. Actually, no. I'll play a 4-4-2 and they can play up front together. I feel like that'd work quite well. Or I play a diamond and have Fornaroli at the tip, Bessart and McLaren. That'd be good. That'd be a good front three. We'll do that. That's what I'll do. And then Schmelt's a little bit stiff as well. Bobo stiff, Thompson stiff, a lot of other players stiff. And there's definitely players who I haven't thought of who are definitely stiff. But yeah, if I had to pick, that's what I'm going with. So yeah, which is, I'm probably going to be, a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me. I don't blame them because I'm not the oracle by any means. But yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments below about who you think is the best striker in A-League history. I think it's a good conversation to have now that we have a good sample size. All right, let's move on.